And we're live. Afternoon. I'm sorry, folks. It takes me a minute to warm up sometimes. Afternoon. Welcome to the Cannabis World Congress and Business Expo live stream, where we will be bringing you the latest and greatest for the industry every week, Thursdays at 4 p.m. And we will have you on your way by 4:20 to enjoy your 4:20. I'm Gretchen Gailey, the Chief Strategy Officer for CWCBE, and I'll be talking with industry experts, influencers, and a few cannabis OGs with a focus looking at New York a little bit. But this week, I'm so proud and happy that I get to speak with Nicole Buffong, the National Community Program Director for Minorities for Medical Marijuana, a nonprofit focused on bringing inclusivity and diversity to the cannabis industry. Nicole, so good to see you.
So good to see you, friend. How are you today, Gretchen?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Thanks for asking.
I'm so happy to have you with us. First, tell us a bit more about Minorities for Medical Marijuana for those who are unfamiliar with what y'all do.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me again. We really appreciate being on your platform with you today. So Minorities for Medical Marijuana was launched in 2016 by Roz McCarthy, our founder and CEO. And she started it when she realized there was a gap in the way that the cannabis industry was speaking to communities of color and those most disenfranchised and harmed by the prohibition of cannabis. And so she decided to launch M4MM, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, based out of Orlando, Florida, is where our corporate headquarters are. Since then, she's done a miraculous job of growing the organization to 27 chapters nationwide and 4 chapters internationally. We're in the UK, Canada, Jamaica, and Belize as of last year. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. What are some of the programs that you guys have been working on for the past years or
Yes.
so?
So since we are an advocacy organization focused on education and empowerment within the cannabis space, our programs really speak to the communities that need the education the most. And so we have programs like Project Clean Slate, which is our program, our national program that helps those individuals that have been most harmed by the prohibition of cannabis get their records cleared. So if you are in a state that have legalized adult use cannabis or medical cannabis, a lot of times those legislators have also passed law regulation that allows individuals that have had past convictions get those convictions erased, essentially. Some states use the language record sealing, and some states use the language expungement. And so we've gone all over the country and been able to service hundreds of people in the last 4 years since that program's existence. And then we also have other programs like Procure, which helps educate our community on how do you get to be a part of the supply chain? What is the supply chain? Most people don't even know until I describe it and help them to understand. The supply chain side of this industry are all of the services and all of the products that the cannabis industry needs in order to thrive, in order to grow, in order to exist. And so you have to think about, where does a cultivator buy nutrients from when they want to grow their plants? Where do they buy their lights from when they want to put it inside of their cultivation? Where do the dispensaries buy their labels and the jars that all of the products go into? These are the kind of things that are part of the supply chain. And so you don't need millions and millions of dollars to start a business that sells nutrients to cannabis companies. And then another one of our more popular programs is Safe Access. And Safe Access helps medical patients in states that have changed their laws to become medically legal to use cannabis as medicine, help those individuals get the education that they need and get the service that they need to get their actual medical card. And so those are just a few of our 10 programs that we serve nationally. Latinx outreach and our veterans outreach programs are a few others.
Now, Nicole, I want to go back to Project Clean Slate a little.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that's probably one of your more popular ones, because folks just don't even know where to begin when it comes to getting their records expunged and how they even begin there. Do you all have attorneys working with you or experts in various states? How do people know exactly how to approach you to do this?
Yes, we do, actually. And just so everybody knows and where to go, projectcleanslate.org. projectcleanslate.org. That's where you go to register to find out more information. But yes, we do. We use lawyers in each state that we go to and have a clinic. We will find lawyers that are willing to spend their time, donate their time to helping individuals understand the process better for that individual state. Our program director, Lakeisha Camise, is an attorney. We love Lakeisha so much. She's based out of New Orleans, out of Louisiana, actually. And so we rely on her and her expertise to help drive the program. But we've done it in over 20 states, I think, so far in the last few years. And so, yeah, each state that we go into, we have a specific clinic set up for that state based on that state's regulations and laws. And so if you want to find out more information, please visit projectcleanslate.org.
Okay, fantastic. Do you have any idea how many folks that you guys have been able to help out over the years with that?
I think it's a little bit over 200. I think that number, it climbs all the time. You know, these services, when we help someone get their record expunged, we're not just sitting there with them in that moment. We're also helping them after the fact. We're making sure that they have the right services within their state that can help them get these records expunged. So it's an ongoing program. It's not just a one-time shop. But yeah, those numbers grow every year, every month, we are having clinics all over the country.
What are some of the other benefits of Minorities for medical marijuana? I know you have a broad, diverse group of members.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
please,
we do.
You don't even need me to ask. Keep going.
I mean, some of the benefits of actually using medical marijuana, was that the question?
No. Your program, Minorities for Medical Marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Just joining and becoming a member.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we have our freemium membership, which is an individual membership that allows you to join for free. You know, one of the biggest benefits of being a member is, of course, the education. We have hours and hours and hours of content online that our members have access to. We have our monthly members meetings that they also have access to, where we feature special guests. Last week was NCIA was with us on that call, helping members to understand their role within the industry as well. And so I think Jason Ortiz, Students for Sensible Drug Policy. So those are some of the guests that we would have on. Our monthly meeting this month was just the dopest CFO, and I am Tajana. So it's obviously a CFO in the cannabis space, and Tajana is a personal assistant. So these are some of the things that they need, that members might need access to. And so we provide them with special guests in that sense as well. And also it benefits if you're a member, because if there's a conference coming into your city or town or state, we usually are partnered with them if there's some kind of cannabis conference. And so we offer our members passes and tickets to those events as well, because we want them to learn. We understand the value and the power in education. That is what is the biggest drawback for people even wanting to be about a part of this space, is not having the proper education. And so we want to make sure that everybody has access to that.
Well, and honestly, that was going to be like my next question for you. Really, there seems to be just quite a lack of education in this space.
Right.
And it's not that people don't want it. It's that people are excited about cannabis and want to get in and don't really know where to begin, it seems as if.
Yes, that's right.
And do you guys spend any time around the science? Because I know that, you know, for patients and folks understanding, like with your safe access program.
Yes. Yeah.
Really how to get the benefits from this plant.
Absolutely. So I'm so grateful you asked. I host a monthly program called Health is Wealth. And that's another one of our free online programs that we do, webinars that we do. It is streamed live on Facebook and LinkedIn and our YouTube channels each month. And so that's the fourth Saturday of every month. So it'll be coming up in this month on March 25th. And I've had doctors and special guests and patients on to talk about just that, how to use the plant as medicine. Some of my guests have been the Knox doctors, both Jessica and Rachel, Dr. Felicia. I've had quite a few on to talk about various subjects. We talk about mothers using cannabis with their children. We talk about cancer and cannabis. We talk about depression and traumatic brain injuries, and the gamut of it. We talk about everything. HIV. I'm an HIV patient, and that's how I found my way into my Minorities for Medical Marijuana. 4 years ago, or 5 years ago now, when I was diagnosed, I was looking for an organization to be a part of that I felt I could help to spread this message and my message in my personal journey of how plants can heal. And so cannabis is a big part of that formula for me. And so when I found Minorities for Medical Marijuana, I knew I'd found home. And Roz embraced me just like that, and asked me to launch the chapter in Georgia. And then I launched the chapter in Nevada 2 years later. And now I work on a national level within the organization. So I've really been able to find my calling with Minorities for Medical Marijuana as a patient. And so just spreading that knowledge is really what we're about.
Well, that is fantastic. You just mentioned your Nevada chapter, and you do live out in Las Vegas. And, we're supposed to talk about New York a bit. But so I want to focus a little more about what you're doing out in Vegas and how it can help New York.
Yeah.
We know that there has been a huge push out in Vegas recently for social consumption lounges.
That's right.
And it has been going back and forth. Can you tell us about the saga and what's going on out there?
Yeah. So I serve on the board of directors for a nonprofit in Las Vegas called the Chamber of Cannabis. And Minorities for Medical Marijuana in 2021 partnered with the Chamber of Cannabis, lobbied to get consumption lounge bill passed, and we were successful. So now 2 years later, we're going to be seeing the first consumption lounges open in Las Vegas. What we were able to do in 2021 when we lobbied, and this is part of what we do kind of behind the scenes that most people don't know about, is lobbying and advocating for social equity and social justice. And so what we did in Nevada in 2021 was we lobbied to legislators and got social equity defined for the first time in state statute. And what that meant was that they were willing to give a percentage of licenses for the first time to social equity applicants in the state of Nevada. And so what came out of that was now 2 years later, after the application process is completed and the licenses have been handed out, we've got 40 new licenses that are going to be coming to the marketplace. 20 of them, half of them are going to retail locations, which means that they are dispensaries already. And then the other half are going to independents, which means that they are not attached to a retail location. Now, one of our qualms with this actual legislation was the fact that if you are an independent lounge license app or holder, you have to purchase your product from the dispensary. You can't get your product from the wholesaler or the producer manufacturer like the dispensary is getting it. You have to buy it from the dispensary. And so that's a little concerning for us, because that means that those independent lounge license holders will have to pay more for their product to sell inside of their consumption lounge. And so going back, 20 independent lounge licenses were awarded. Half of those went to social equity. And so we'll have 10 social equity license holders, winners that are going to be provisional license winners until the end of this month. They have to submit an address, and they have to submit a physical address and some other stipulations that they have to submit by the end of the month. And so those 10 social equity applicants, I know 6 of them right offhand that are people of color, because you couldn't actually qualify based on your race or demographic. It was based on what area, zip code you lived in, and whether or not you can prove that a direct family member was actually incarcerated or convicted of possession of cannabis, a misdemeanor felony. It could be a felony as well. But that's what came out of that. Now, the issue with that, of course, is we know that these retail locations are going to be first to market. Of course, they have the money, they have the resources, they already have a location because their consumption lounge is going to be attached to their dispensary. So they'll be first to market. Those are the first ones we're going to see opening up by this summer. Places like Planet 13 and other locations there in Las Vegas, The Source, I know. But these 20 independent lounge license holders, they're looking at a more like another year. They want to be open and ready for business, hopefully by the time the Super Bowl gets to Las Vegas next year. So that's going to give them a little bit of an advantage because they get to kind of watch and see what the dispensaries do before they open up shop. But we are hoping that the city of Las Vegas works with them, because one of the things that they were doing to the independent lounge license holders was tax them more for their business license within the city. They're limiting the distance far away, how far away they can be from each other. So this concept and idea of the Amsterdam of the West, which is what Las Vegas was trying to create, with this distance restriction that disqualifies that. We can't have them like kind of in an area or hub or a neighborhood like downtown Las Vegas, if you've ever been to Las Vegas. So we are still lobbying because things are changing. It's ever evolving. So the Chamber of Cannabis got involved, went to the city of Las Vegas City Council meeting, and we got them to reconsider some some of those regulations. And so they came back with some provisions that we were willing to accept, which was a reduced licensing fee for social equity applicants. And they did say that they would make it so that you could apply for a pass. You could apply to not have the 1,000-foot distance, but it would depend on location by location. And that what that technically means is it would depend on how much money you have for a lobbyist, to pay a lobbyist to go to the city and kind of lobby on your behalf. So again, it's kind of showing favor to those that have the means and the funds to be able to do that.
So would you say that folks in New York, especially regulators, should be keeping an eye on this issue, how it's evolving out in Vegas? Because to me, it just makes sense. You know, I go out with my girlfriends or something on the weekend. We're going bar to bar to bar. I mean, I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works. And
yes, that is how it works. And
to go 1,000 feet to every other lounge
that's
seems
3
ridiculous.
Football fields. That's a lot. Like,
I'm not walking that in my shoes. No,
exactly.
Have you seen my shoes? Absolutely not.
Exactly. And so you get it. You get the concept, the idea of what we're trying to create. But the legislators, which is, as an advocate, as a lobbyist, you run into this a lot. You run into people that are making the decisions and the laws and the regulations that don't consume cannabis. And so we as educators, we as lobbyists, we as advocates have to go and kind of be like, no, this is stupid. see how they're doing it in other states. This doesn't make sense. So it just requires us making sure that we're paying attention. Because if we weren't paying attention to what the city of Las Vegas was doing, then we wouldn't have known that this was an issue that would affect these new license holders and go and lobby and advocate on their behalf. So, I think that for New York, absolutely, it's the perfect breeding ground for just this type of Amsterdam of the East that they can claim. And of course, when you go out, like you said, to a bar hopping in an area that, think about the red light district. Think about how much business all those businesses have. You can have cafes and shops right next to each other. It's not competition. It allows the businesses to thrive. And then when you're thinking about consumption, it's also a safety issue. Because why would you want to have to drive somewhere to go to another location, in order to consume? It doesn't really make sense. So I think that what New York needs to pay attention to what Las Vegas does in the next year is allow the businesses to thrive, allow them to have a healthy competition, because we want to see more and more businesses and more entrepreneurs coming out of this market. And it really can be. Las Vegas is the playground of the world. Everybody comes to Vegas to play. And if it's just going to be another place that you can consume cannabis in fun, different ways, I'm really excited to see what the market brings. And I think if New York pays attention, then they'll see, okay, we can do this. This works. It worked there. Let's pay attention and kind of see what else we can adopt for our regulations.
It makes total sense to me. And I don't remember, at one point was in New York, New Amsterdam back in the day.
Yeah, so that's right.
It all fits. Now, I know we're approaching 420. We're not there just yet. We're almost there. But I couldn't let you go without talking a bit more about Roz. Roz has been a long-time advisor and friend to CWCBE. We love Roz. We're looking forward to having y'all back at the show again in June.
Absolutely.
What is she up to? Are there any big plans going on this year?
Yeah. So last year, Roz launched her baby, Black Buddha Cannabis. I'm the national brand ambassador for that brand as well. So we're in 4 states right now, getting ready to launch in Las Vegas, in Nevada. We should be in Nevada by 420. So we're really excited about that. But blackbuddhacannabis.co is where you can find that. It was birthed out of her experience after being able to overcome a traumatic brain injury. And she got the inspiration after really focusing on meditation and plant medicine and how it really helped and healed her through that journey. And so that's where Black Buddha Cannabis came from. And so we're really excited to continue the growth of Black Buddha Cannabis. So if you're looking and wanting to know, I know we're in Massachusetts, in Maryland, in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, and getting ready to come to Nevada. So look out for Black Buddha Cannabis.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for joining us today on CWCB's live stream. You're only my second guest, and it wasn't terrible.
It was great.
Please
Thank
don't
you, dear.
forget to tune in next week for our latest industry expert and join us all at Javits in June. Enjoy your 420.
Thanks. Same to you.